Good morning. Yeah, do you believe in magic? There was certainly a lot of magic in the streets at Carnival yesterday, and I'm glad that the rain didn't damper the celebrations. And I'm glad to see everyone here this morning on this lovely summer, rainy, but cooler morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Congregation of Toronto, in person and online, where our mission is to nurture connection, share life's joys and sorrows, and act for love and justice. We welcome you, whether you're joining us in person here or across the world, online or locally. You belong here because you are here. This morning, here in person, we are meeting at 473 Oakwood Avenue on the treaty lands of the and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. And last week, I was traveling first in car and then in canoe through numerous First Nations territories. I specifically acknowledged the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory, unceded territory, and that the land on which many settler peoples hike, canoe, cottage, and camp as a traditional home of the Anishinaabeg, specifically the people of Wikwemekong. As we travel this summer, walk the land, and dip into water, we can take time to recognize and appreciate the Indigenous connection to such places, and in doing so, reaffirm our commitment to ongoing action, awareness, and education that build on reconciliations as we work against anti-Indigenous racism. My name is Catherine Lake. I'm a member of this community and your worship leader for today's service. I'm joined today by Gregory O on piano, choir member Julith Dawson, and Gabby and Nasia with song, Angela Clausen, our storyteller, Matt Rideout, and Assistant Bo, our AV technicians. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to our guest speaker today, the Reverend Aaron Morton, who is an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister and spiritual director. His work integrates ritual, expressive arts, embodied practices, restorative justice, and popular education to build community, explore values, deepen communication, and connect with the sacred. He is primarily inspired by pagan, Buddhist, and humanist theologies. Aaron is a Scottish, queer, and trans person who immigrated to Canada just over 20 years ago. He recently moved to the East Coast and is discovering the delights of Atlantic Canada, in particular, the ancestral lands of the Wolastoqiyik, Pasquotumoqui. I practice these too. Wolastoqiyik, Pasquotumoqui, and Mi'kmaq. The Mi'kmaq I got. Today, Aaron will speak to us about magic, as we will explore what magic can offer for us in co-creating the world we long for. I'm happy to bring you news from the life of the congregation. Our new settled minister, Reverend Alex, officially starts with us on Tuesday, August 4th. During the month of August, he'll be focused on planning for the upcoming congregational year. And his first Sunday service as our minister will be September 13th, our wonderful water communion service, where we all come back from our summer travels to honor water and start the official new congregational year. Reverend Linda continues as our summer minister in August and early September, and she can be contacted by phone or email. And Reverend Linda and the spiritual care team continue to be available for spiritual care, and their contact details are in First Light and on the website. This coming Wednesday, August 5th, from 7 to 9 downstairs, there's a sacred circle dance, and it happens the first Wednesday of every month. Each dance is taught beforehand, and music is from around the world. You're also welcome to sit if physically you're not feeling or able to stand. Facilitators lead the group in dance, and the event is held in, as I mentioned, in the downstairs. Donations will be accepted for First Unitarian. So to get connected, check out the welcome table out there or go online and register for First Light. Now I'll call on Gabby to light our chalice as we begin our service. For those online, I invite you to light a candle or chalice if you have one close by and join with us in saying our chalice lighting words. As we light our chalice, may its flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Thank you, Gabby. We begin our time of worship, a time we make sacred in coming together by greeting our neighbors while being mindful of and respecting one another's ways of saying hello. So just take a moment to greet our neighbors. All right, getting your attention back. Thank you. I now invite you to rise as you are able. Join in singing hymn 389, which Gabby and choir friends will lead us in song.
As we join together in worship this morning, I will share the words of Seth Carrier-Ladd. Wind, water, sun. Wind that whispers through the willow trees, sun that sustains us, water that washes over willing earth and weathered stones. A smile shared and savored, a child's squeal of delight as she dances in daisies and daffodils. The joy of gathered community. This is the spirit of life and love that we call forth now into this gathering.
From our many and varied paths, we arrive here as individuals to build up within and beyond walls a community of commitment, love, and hope. To express the highest aspirations of our congregation, let us now join together in the words of our covenant. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. And now we'll hear from Angela in our Time for All Ages.
Beloveds in person and online, thank you to Reverend Aaron for offering what story would go well with the sermon today. It's called Magic by Marielle Ortega, Once Upon a Faraway Land. Let me tell you about the place I'm from. A faraway land brimming with magic. Powerful magic that twists and turns and touches everything around you. It's a place where rain kisses the earth and wild things flourish. And people turn wilderness into harvest. A place where my abuelo turned dirt into a sea of golden pineapples, glimmering under the warm Mexican sun. And my abuelita taught me to string words together to make up stories. Where my mama and tia wove single threads of wool into the most beautifully intricate blankets. And my papa transformed sketches into stone buildings, bricks, and solid walls. In my faraway land, I saw tiny seeds grow into shady trees, where beneath I sat and played on hot summer days. I also saw little bugs become plagues, and pleasant rains turn into tropical storms, and my favorite trees turned into lonely stumps. Oh no. I learned that magic isn't good or bad, it just is. Sometimes it gives, sometimes it takes, sometimes it blossoms, sometimes it wilts, and sometimes it is confusing, the way magic can change things for better and for worse. But even in the darkest moments, the spark of magic shines through. Like candles in the ofrendas every Day of the Dead. My abuelo used to say, there is no harvest without rain, and there is no sadness that magic can't turn to happiness again, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes magic takes its time, but it is always there, like when people's hands touch the earth and plant seeds that become fruit. Like when sounds are woven together into the most beautiful music. Like when jaracas dance. And you can feel it in your fingertips, like when blank pages become pictures. That was magic. The author and her younger brother and her abuelo are in this photo. Children who are with us today, we are learning about a girl named Maria who lived in 1660 in a time when women could not have careers or study and could certainly not be scientists, and when people thought that butterflies were summer birds that just came from far away for the summer. But Maria studied the little eggs and the caterpillars and the chrysalises And she was responsible for people understanding, even before Charles Darwin, that there's a life cycle to metamorphosis and to butterflies. So that's what we're talking about today.
Enter with me now into a time of meditation and prayer, a time we begin with words which will be followed by silence, then musical meditation with the lighting of candles or joy, candles of concern or joy, and the sharing of our sorrows and joys. Seeing red. The hollowed gray stump was in the middle of the site, its long-armed roots still stretching across soft forest floor and rock outcrop. Inside was both charcoal from a long-ago fire and soft mossy green dappled with red. As we pondered our tent placement, a sudden river of red ants surged from the brush and raced toward the stump. Like tiny magicians, they each pulled a larva as though from thin air, hoisting it in balance to again race over the stump, then disappear back into the brush. There's something about red in the wilderness. The red sun on either side of each day, the summer's red roots of water lilies and short-lived dragonflies, their boundless eyes and fantastical flight, like the cherry-faced ones that came to rest on my thigh while mating, their connection heart-shaped and visibly pulsing. It was magical, I say to my sister, as her nurse arrives with 2 large syringes filled with blood-red liquid to slowly pump into the port which leads to her jugular. My sister releases a long sigh. We call it the red devil, the nurse says. I pray it works its magic. We come now to tend the sacred bonds that binds our lives one to another, affirming that what touches the life of one of us affects us all. In these moments, we seek to widen our caring ministry by sharing the joys, sorrows, and milestones in our own lives and in the life of our congregation. We hold in our thoughts all those who are heavy-hearted, those facing grieving, illnesses. May they find comfort. I invite you now to bring to mind those you are holding in your heart today. For those online, you can share any sorrows or concerns you have in the chat. And for us in the room, we may speak our sorrows briefly now. Mothers of Palestine.
Praying for my mom who lost her life.
Life also offers gifts and delights, even in the midst of a sudden or prolonged health challenges. Ed Thompson wrote to thank people for their concern over the past couple of weeks. He's doing better and was discharged Friday and came to be with us this morning. We're happy to see you, Ed, and happy you're on the mend. Terry Marks shares that this past Thursday she rang the bell in the Princess Margaret Cancer Center as she completed her last chemotherapy. She'll undergo treatment, surgery in a month, and stay strong, Terry. We love you. More joys to share. Tanya Cawthron is letting us know that she leaves on Wednesday for 3 weeks of site visits in Burundi and Rwanda. And while there, she'll also visit the UU Church in Bujumbura. She welcomes prayers for smooth travels, joyful interactions, and restful moments. We look forward to seeing you soon, Tanya, and hearing of your time and your work in East Africa. Blessings on your journey. And last, but certainly not least, how is this for magic? Marilee and Alan Brand celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary yesterday on August 1st. They met at a seminar in Oak Ridges, Ontario in 1970, and when they sat down next to one another, their first question was, "What's your name?" And Marilee replied, "Marilee Brand," and Alan replied, "Alan Brand." It was obviously meant to be. Now, and you didn't have to change your name, Marilee. Good, rock on, good. Or you, Alan. Now. Now they have 3 adult children and 7 grandchildren, and they are inviting us to celebrate this wonderful milestone by enjoying cake they have brought after service. So thank you for that, Marilee and Alan, and congratulations. May we cultivate gratitude. Please bring to mind all that you are grateful for today. For those online, please share your joys in the chat. And for us here, please lift up any joys you wish to share.
Justin Hahn, who many of you know is working with me, was married yesterday in a lovely ceremony.
I'd like to lift up a safe canoe trip with my Karen last week.
We're not even halfway there, but Meg and I had our 25th earlier this summer.
Congratulations. And I call on Reverend Aaron to light one final candle this morning for those online and for all the unspoken and unseen joys and sorrows of our lives and those we encounter. May all that has been shared here strengthen and renew the bonds of this beloved community. May we summon the strength to do our part to heal the hurts of our world. And may we live with courage and compassion, with gratitude and joy today and always. Amen.
For our reading today, I'd like to share a Jewish wisdom story. It tells the tale of Baal Shem Tov. He was the founder of Hassim, a healer, a teacher, and a storyteller. Whenever the community was under attack or faced a disaster, he would go to a special place in the forest. He would make a sacred fire and say a special prayer, asking that the troubles of his people, the troubles would pass by his people, and they would. The rabbi of the next generation, Megid of Merech, in times of trouble would go to the same place in the forest. And he would say, God, I no longer know how to make the sacred fire, but I still know how to find this place, and I know the special prayer. And that will need to be enough. And it was. The troubles passed his people by. In the next generation, his disciple would go to the same place in the forest. And he would say, God, I never knew how to make the sacred fire. I no longer know the special prayer, but I know how to find this place, and that will need to be enough. And it was, and the troubles passed his people by. Now Jewish people say, God, the special place to make the sacred fire is long lost. The special prayer is a distant memory. All we know is this story, and that will have to be enough. And it was. Let us join in body and spirit and sing Song 1003, Where Do We Come From?
Where
As you heard earlier, though my accent doesn't give it away as much as it used to in the past, I'm Scottish. Thanks. And my view of many things, most especially magic, is strongly influenced by my being Scottish. Most of you probably know what the national flower of Scotland is. The thistle, yeah. Well, legend has it, the reason the thistle was chosen almost a millennia ago was because a Viking fleet intent in conquering Scotland launched a nighttime attack on a group of sleeping Scottish people. Though parts of northern Scotland was under Norwegian rule at that time, apparently they had been disinterested for a while and hadn't visited. This was evident because the nighttime intruders decided to take their shoes off to sneak up on the Scottish people more stealthily. When inevitably one of the Norsemen stepped on a thistle and caused such a ruckus that he woke up all the Scottish people and they were able to defend themselves from attack. Now, this may or may not be true. In either case, it can be reasonably argued that the somewhat unconventional choice for an aggressively spiky weed to be your national flower is representative of Scottish people. Thistles are known for their stubbornness and tenacity, their defiant ability to flourish in spite of all efforts to remove them, and for being a wee bit prickly if you approach them in the wrong way. Look at the thistle and you get the sense of proud stoicism, the don't mess with me attitude. They also have delicate, beautiful purple flowers. Underneath the thorns, and they have a sweet sap that attracts bumblebees and butterflies and small birds. But we don't talk about that so much. If you're not a pollinator, we prefer you focus on the thorns. All right, so our national flower and its thorns are pretty well known. What is often less well known is our national animal. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah, the unicorn. England claims both the lion with a dozen or so other countries, and when pressed, the bulldog. The US, the eagle, Canada, the beaver, and Scotland, yet again, chooses somewhat unconventionally. It's something we also don't tend to advertise very much, unless we're trying to appear cool to preteen girls or queer folks. And I definitely got a lot of bonus points when we adopted a 9-year-old 5 years ago. But the unicorn is also an apt symbol. In Celtic mythology, the unicorn of Scotland symbolized both innocence and purity, which were seen as feminine, and simultaneously power and strength, which was seen as masculine. The magical creature has healing powers that signifies joy and even life itself. The unicorn was seen as a wild, freedom-loving creature, fierce, bold, proud, and intelligent, beautiful, courageous, magical. What better animal to choose? Now, you might think that sounds fantastic, but how does that fit with those prickly Scottish people that you were talking about a minute ago? Well, I think when you take the two together, you get some of the unique paradoxes of being Scottish. We have a plant that's covered in thorns and full of sweetness, and you have an animal that looks all pretty and will kick your butt if you try and control it. We are at once deeply rooted to the earth, practical and pragmatically grounded, and highly idealistic magical unicorns. While the Scottish tend to focus in the here and now, in a no-nonsense sort of way, out of the corner of our eyes are fairies, elves, sprites, and mythical creatures. It's a land steeped with myths and legend, with magic. But it's not a sunshine and rainbows kind of magic. Most people don't talk about it much. Partly because they want to keep your attention on those thorns, and partly because they don't want to attract undue attention from the good folks. When it comes to them, a quote on elves from Terry Pratchett's novel Lords and Ladies illustrates, "Elves are wonderful. They provoke wonder. Elves are marvelous. They cause marvels. Elves are fantastic. They create fantasies. Elves are glamorous. They project glamour. Elves are enchanting. They weave enchantment. Elves are terrific. They beget terror. No one ever said elves are nice. Elves are bad." Now, not that I believe that fairies are bad per se, honestly. They just have their own interests. And messing with you in any particular minute just might be their interest. So you want to be on their good side. When I was young, most of my knowledge of magical side of things came from my grandmother. She taught me to leave milk out for the fairies and other such practical things. I usually took it with a grain of salt, and as a young scientist in training, I would try to discover the rational reason for all the things. One day, I tried to tell her my hypothesis. I thought the birds, not the fairies, were drinking the milk. I thought I had undisputable evidence. I had seen them. And I thought this reasonable explanation would get her to stop with the fairy nonsense and we could all get on with things. But she said, "Yeah, sometimes they show up like that, especially when they know you're watching," and continued doing what she was doing unfazed. How can you argue with that? So mostly I didn't. I put her stories into that story category and let it be, and that was fine. As I got older, I came to love the stories more and more. I came to understand the way that stories affect how we think and how we connect to the world. Living both in Scotland and Ireland, as I did for a decade, stories felt like part of my life. Even if I had forgotten the sacred fires, the ritual, and the sacred places, as with the Jewish tale, I had the stories, and that was enough. Until it wasn't. I realized after living in Canada for about 10 years, I had lost connection, not just to the land I was from. I had lost connection to the shared culture that made sense of the world for me. It was a slow, creeping loss, a disconnection, a lingering sense that something was missing, something vital, but something I couldn't quite name. I felt like I no longer knew how to live or why. While I had a good job, dear friends, and by contemporary measures of success, I was doing fine. And I struggled with the reason why. Sharon Blackie says, "We imagine we're thriving, but we're not. We've allowed ourselves, as a price we pay for so vigorously enrolling in the prevailing Western cult of progress and growth, to become disenchanted with ourselves and each other and with our lives." She points out that this isn't just a problem for us. Whether or not we imagine ourselves to be thriving, it's clear the planet isn't. Because our disenchantment with our own lives, with the systems and values on which human civilization has come to be based, extends to the wider world around us. We've fallen out of love with the world. It's clear from the way we treat it, she says. When I first read this, I realized that I had become disenchanted, that I had got caught up in the working and planning to the detriment of living. And though I didn't use that language at the time, I had most definitely fallen out of love with the world. I'd lost the sense of wonder and awe, the playful curiosity that I'd managed to connect with in my young adulthood. And as I searched for what brought me this sense of connection to joy in the world, I realized that for me, the ocean was central and began to plot my way back to it. In her book, The Enchanted Life, Unlocking the Magic of the Everyday, Blackie argues that as modern life becomes more mechanized and the social, economic, and political systems that we once considered robust become increasingly fragile, we find ourselves thirsting for something more to hold on to, for news stories that tell us about who we are and what our place in the world might be. The yearning for meaning, belonging, and purpose, the desire to feel the mystery, curiosity, and possibility that we may have felt as children. A world that calls us to be all that we can be. By her definition, enchantment has nothing to do with fantasy or escapism or magical thinking. It is founded on the vivid sense of belongingness to a rich and many-layered world, a profound, wholehearted participation in the adventure of life. The enchanted life is one that's intuitive, embraces wonder, fully engages creative imagination, but is also deeply embodied, ecologically grounded in place and community. It flourishes on work that has heart and meaning and respects the instinctive knowledge and playfulness of children. It understands the myths we live by, thrives in poetry, song, and dance. It loves the folkloric, the handcrafted, the practice of traditional skills. It respects the wild things and recognizes the wisdom of crows, seeks out the medicine of plants and rummages and roots in the wild edges, but comes home to an enchanted home and garden. It is engaged with the small, the local, the ethical. Enchanted living, she says, is slow living. Blackie describes herself as a recovering scientist, and she shares that how after 30 years in recovery, she still finds herself involuntarily flinching whenever she hears herself using the words holy, sacred, reverence, or spiritual. I've definitely felt that way. Perhaps you have too. We UUs are often apologetic about believing in anything not proven by empirical science. Yet the non-rational is not the same as irrational. I believe we need to avoid the dogmatic views of seeing the world that come from science as much as the ones that come from religion. It's only by holding both that we can become fully alive to the gifts of each. Carl Sagan said, spirituality is not only compatible with, science is not only compatible with spirituality, but it's a profound source of spirituality. One of science's major values, I believe, is not in finding answers so much as finding better questions. In mainstream culture, Western culture, magic and spirituality are often placed in opposition to science, as I placed it as a child, but it need not be so. When you pay attention, there are many, many things that are magical that can be proven. For example, the way the vast diversity of life forms on this planet have lived together, sustained one another for millennia, and co-created our beautiful, magical world. How all of this has created the conditions for us to be here now. For us to look at Thistle and feel longing, feel a culture, a world alive in our mind. Understanding the mechanisms doesn't destroy the magic, though by over-focusing on it and losing our love, we are currently threatening our very existence. Science is now developing to a point that it's beginning to be able to prove the things that have been known to indigenous cultures and small children for always. Like trees talk to each other and live in communities. And they'll even talk to us if we'll listen. Much more of this planet is sentient than Western thought has typically imagined or been able to see. And still, not everything can be explained, and that's okay. Nor does everything need to be literally true to be of value. Myth and stories are living principles in the world that shape the way we engage with each other and everything else. Stories, both literal and mythic, are so important that we invented writing. Carl Sagan says, across the millennia, the author is speaking clearly and silently inside your head, directly to you. Writing is perhaps the greatest of human inventions, binding people together, citizens of distant epochs who never knew one another. Books break the shackles of time, proof that humans can work magic. And where books can work magic privately, music can have that effect communally. To share stories, histories, meaning, and energy. It is not coincidental that we sing together. To paraphrase the Loving Spoonfuls, we can see how the magic's in the music and the music's in us. Above all, Blackie says to live an enchanted life is to fall in love with the world again. It is the only antidote, I believe, to the Western cult of progress and growth, as she calls it. This is an act of choice, a leap of faith, which is necessary not only for our own sakes, but for the sake of our wild, wide earth, in whose beings we are so becoming, we are so profoundly and beautifully entangled. To take this leap of faith isn't easy. To see that we don't need to give up the magic of childhood to be adults is far from what most of us have been taught. We can notice the magic of clouds, which contain both their ability to create imaginative worlds and remind us to bring a rain jacket. The magic of love holds both the dizzying rush of new love and the inevitable heartbreaks, as well as the day-to-day ways we build community and strive for justice. I'll confess, I'm not always as good at it as I would like to be. The place that I notice it most these days is when my child, JR, interrupts my busyness to marvel at a flower or a creature, or to move some worm from the pavement into the grass to save him, which is a delicate and slow process. And I feel myself wanting to rush them and remind them that we're going to be late for something or other and get going. And on a good day, I'll take a breath and I'll think about the lesson that I'm teaching them by doing that, and instead refocus on the more important lesson that they are teaching me in how to live. I feel deep gratitude that they still hold this sense of magic and delight in the world, despite all they have been through and all the pressures to grow up. I appreciate and wonder at the magic that my teenager is still willing to share that with me, despite my many times of failing to put what I say I value most in, and get caught up in the busyness. Just one of the magics of children, listening to our values and then holding a mirror to our behavior. Frequently humbling experience. So where do you find connection to and joy in the world? What makes you fall deeper in love with this world? How can you amplify that in your life, in this community? Because this magic is not an indulgence. It's not extra. I believe it's vital for our connection, our continued survival in this planet, and for our collective liberation. Because it calls us to reorient ourselves around what is important, to find more meaning and joy in our lives, to reconnect with what is sacred, to treat each other with reverence, to hold our world holy, to find the magic within ourselves and our world. May it be so. May we make it so.
Turn the light off, go to bed. Tell me all about the day you've had. Lay beside me, it's time to rest. You can close your eyes, you've done your best. Let me be your sanctuary. Let me be your safe place to fall. I can take away your worries, the refuge from it all this time we have together is our shelter from the rain. I will share the weight you carry. Let me be your sanctuary. We have weathered through the storm.
Thank you so much, Gabby, Nasia, and Julith, for that wonderful, wonderful song that singing about being a sanctuary within this sanctuary. Yeah, just reminds me of the community we have and the beauty we share here together. So thank you so much. And Reverend Aaron, for your words around magic and finding the beauty in life and the magic in life. Thank you so much for that. It was a wonderful sermon. The work of First U is sustained through all of our continued generosity, whether it's through volunteering or financial donations, and both. At the back of the sanctuary is a giving basket and a tap machine where you can make a donation. Please visit our website and click donate to make a difference, and Matt will drop in the link for our online friends. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity, for those who brought their gifts today. Our team, our staff, our music, our speaker. Thank you, everybody. And now will you rise in body and spirit, and join me in singing hymn 387, The Earth, Water, Fire, and Air.
The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, return, return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, return, return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, return, return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, return, return.
Please sit. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope that you found connection and meaning in the service. And we warmly invite you to join here next week in person or online. For those joining us online at the end of the service, you'll be invited into a small breakout room. By accepting the prompt to break out, when it appears on your screen, you'll be magically popped into the Zoom room. Today's questions I touched on earlier. Where do you find a sense of connection and joy to the world? What makes you fall deeper in love with the world? How can you amplify that in your life and in this community? And beyond, if you want to go there too. For those here in person, we encourage you to take the questions into conversation during the social time. And as we extinguish our common flame, which is almost extinguishing itself, magic. I will share the words of Susan Van Dresser. Let us share the magic of imagination. Let us sing the magic of imagination by which we know one another and learn the lives of eras gone by. Let us sing the magic of creation by which we build the world of our soul and teach its wisdom to others, young and old. Let us sing the magic of our lives together, holding and shaping by the movement of breath from heart to lung and all new life to come. Go now with singing. Go now with magic in your fingertips and touch this world with life.